Hello all. Well, we've certainly seen a lot of carnage going all over the world. Refugees coming out of North Africa, out of all over the Middle East, Yemen, Egypt, and you have to ask yourself, who's stirring up all this trouble? Well, you can obviously tell by who's selling the most weapons, and of course that would be the U.S. and Russia. Just this week, there was an announcement about yet another weapon sales from the U.S. over to Saudi Arabia. Let's go look. Okay, the U.S. has decided to pick sides between Saudi Arabia and Yemen. And Saudi Arabia is saying that they're fighting the Houthi rebels, and that's a whole nother story. Who made those people, right? You just can only guess. And they are buying all kinds of weapons from the U.S. The latest weapons sales, mostly missiles, $1 billion worth. Just the last sale that the U.S. made to Saudi Arabia, F-15 fighter jets, a whole fleet of them. Jesus. Out of just these jets that they sold, over 4,300 people in Yemen have died because of those jets. Mostly civilians. Saudi Arabia has been caught dropping cluster bombs. Now, cluster bombs are illegal. You're not allowed to use them. The reason is because they're made so poorly that when they explode, each bomblet or grenade may or may not go off once it hits the ground. And after the wars are gone and these things get buried, kids find them and blow themselves up over and over and over in war zones. It's pathetic. But I don't know who's making the cluster bombs, and that's all I'm going to say. Let's go find out who else the U.S. is selling weapons to. It's so hot today. So you have to ask yourself, like I've asked over and over on this channel, if humanity was smart enough to be able to overcome their militarism, wouldn't they be out in space by the billions or trillions? But yet we do see the light of stars, which is a type of radio wave. So why don't we hear not one single intelligent signal? That would be like looking up and seeing absolute blackness. And if you remember, back when Star Trek, which was a space-based program here in the U.S., they came across a planet that had wiped themselves out because of militarism, but their military hardware was still out there, still trying to fight. It was on autopilot, and it just, when anybody showed up there, they automatically thought it was the enemy and would start shooting at them. And it would keep improving on the weaponry, just like here. Again, they say humans are the most intelligent thing on this planet. Really? The camera keeps turning off. Alright, for the second time, who else has the U.S. sold weapons to? Well, how about the U.K.? They're getting Apache attack helicopter, $3 billion worth. Bahrain is getting F-16 and parts and logistics support for $150 million. Japan is getting some missiles. They'll be getting also 8 AE-6IS combat systems, whatever that is. That's going to cost them $150 million. Then the UAE, United Arab Emirates, will be getting a DARCOM, whatever that is, systems, parts, and logistics support. That's going to cost them $335 million. And the thing is, the U.S. just approved that Saudi Arabia deal. There's another Saudi deal, ammunition and combat, military combat helmets and body armor, uniforms, camouflage fatigues, and also different military vehicles. So, you have to ask, who's causing all the trouble? This list I gave you is such a small list. The list, I could go on for hours and hours. Almost every country on the planet is bought from the U.S. military-industrial complex. Again, this is caused because, and by the way, since Obama took office, we have made more combat sales than any other president in the history of the U.S. Obama has sold more weapons than anybody else. Disgusting. A wolf in sheep's clothing. That's what Obama is. And all this militarism and all these migrants flowing all over the planet, all these poor refugees with babies floating up in the water, and all this is all being caused by the two major countries. It's actually three: the U.S., Russia, and China, but China's way behind on selling weaponry. It's the U.S. and Russia, and they keep outdoing each other. So, I mean, we're just flooding the world with weapons without any slowdown whatsoever. The U.S. people don't know what's going on because it's never talked about in the in the corporate channels of news, or what they call news. There just isn't any mention of things like this. You know, it's all somebody else's fault of why so many people are having so much trouble. And I certainly appreciate all the comments on the last videos, and the ups and the downs, and the new subscribers. And I hate to say it, but I don't know who's the new subscribers, because YouTube is really messing that up. I keep getting new ones, then they all drop away and go down, then they all come back, and they all go away. So I don't know who actually is subscribing and who isn't. The convenience is just for you, so you can get my a notice of when I come out with a new video. So maybe if we would all think about voting for Jill Stein or Jesse Ventura here in the U.S., who have both talked about the military-industrial complex in length and are against it. So, until next time.